Welcome to The Buried Talent, the show for young professionals that tears down false beliefs about faith and work so you can unbury your God given talent right where you are. I'm Ken Freire, and today we're talking about the 90-day system to actually start living your calling. And the reason why we're talking about this is because last week, if you were listening to it, we talked about having a marketplace calling statement. And many people are like, yes, I can envision something, but now how do I actually execute it? Now, before we talk about the actual execution, I want to talk about a false belief that we tend to fall into when it comes to executing a vision that we feel that God may have given us. And that false belief kind of goes something like this. I can't make a plan until God tells me exactly what to do. Now, most of us wouldn't actually word it that way. We're not like, oh yeah, God, tell me exactly what to do. But the way we live our lives and the way we act sometimes, that's the way we do it, right? For example, you may feel stuck in your calling and you're trying to figure out, Lord, should I take this path or this path? Or you're wondering, hey, is this really going to glorify God? Is this really going to help me get closer to Him and actually do what He wants me to do? But the reality is that when we feel that way, what we end up doing is we're like, you know what? Let me just wait on God. Let me not plan for anything. And then all of a sudden we get a little passive and we start to delay and we actually start to bury our talent. And this feels spiritual, right? Because it says in Psalm 40, right? Delight yourself in the Lord and He will give you the desires of our heart. It also talks about in Psalms 40, sorry, that was Psalms 34, in Psalms 40, where He talks about to be still and wait on God. So many times we wait, but we actually don't talk about the rest of that passage, where the rest of that passage talks about be still and wait and know that I am God and I will be exalted among the nations. The reason we are to be still is so that we can remind ourselves that He is God, He's going to be glorified, and He's going to be exalted amongst the nations. Because many times we run around with our heads cut off like a chicken, right? And we're like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Let's keep moving forward. Let's keep making action. We just wait and we wait and wait and wait and don't do anything about it until we see God actually do something. But the Lord is actually saying, hey, I'm going to be exalted no matter what. You just need to calm your heart and trust that I'm going to be exalted. And now I want you to move forward in a good direction with Him. Now, I know that many of us, we may say things like, hey, I don't want to get ahead of God. What if I plan, but I plan on the wrong thing? And I'm just waiting for more clarity. Look, I get it. All those things are from a desire to be obedient, and you fear missing out on God's will. But I want you to know that even scripture talks about us being able to still plan and just keep it very loosely and open handed. Let me give you a couple passages to ensure this. Proverbs 16:9 says it this way. Many are the plans in a man's heart, but the Lord directs his steps. And you may be like, you see, Ken, the Lord directs your steps. What's the point of me planning? Look, the passage doesn't say don't plan. It just says that many are the plans in a man's heart. Like we have all these plans, but ultimately the Lord directs them, right? This is God, be still, right? You waiting, but also trust that He's God and then move. This is the same thing. Many are the plans in a man's heart. We have plans. It's okay, right? The verse assumes you're making plans. So it's not saying an either or here. There are times when we have to wait. There are times when we have to move forward. There are times that we have to plan. And just remember that God, in His sovereignty, ordains all things and He moves things accordingly to His purpose. And part of that will be you. He will move you according to His purposes. But that doesn't mean you don't actually do anything. Because there's another Proverbs, if we balance this out in Proverbs 3, verse 5, right? Everybody knows this famous Proverbs, but it says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding, but in all your ways, acknowledge Him, right? That's part of it. Or how about this? Another Proverb says, commit your works or commit your ways to Him and your plans will succeed, right? So there are all these places in the scriptures that talks about committing your plans, committing your ways, committing your work, committing your life. And when you do that, your plans are more successful. So with that being said, I don't want you to feel stuck where like, oh, I'm just waiting on God. Sometimes the waiting, all you have to do is actually start planning and executing. When you have waited and in that wait have reoriented your heart to say, God, I trust you that you're sovereign and you're going to work all things out. And if I mess up, he's going to bring you back. Then that's the right posture. And that's when you can start planning. And that's when you can start taking action. So if you decided, yes, I have the right heart, I want that, Lord, I now need to make movement. How do I do that? Let's get a little practical here. The way I like to do this is I have my marketplace calling statement. I take that and then I say, hey, 5 years from now, how do I want to live this out? So step one is create a 5-year vision or a 5-year mission statement, right? And you want to ask yourself a couple questions. Question number one, what kind of impact do you want to have? If you look 5 years, what do you want to have? The second question is, what would faithfulness look like in 5 years? Now, you're not going to get perfect clarity, but you're just trying to figure out a direction. And as you're answering those questions, what you want to work through, say, man, I really 5 years out want to be working in this type of business, or I want to own my own business, or I want to really be married. Whatever it is, start detailing those things out of what do you actually want your life to look like? Don't keep it superficial. Go as deep as you can, because the more specific you are, the more clarity you will have. So don't even say like, hey, I just want a better career that's fulfilling God's promises. That's way too general, right? We want to get down to the nitty gritty and say something like, hey, I really want to have a job in the B4T sectors, or I really want to have a job in the college university settings as a professor teaching this, whatever that this may be. Again, I'm giving an example, but you want to have 5 years out. 5 years is a good enough time for you to like build any skill sets that you need or get any training and really start pushing a career. Once you get that 5-year vision, then you want to break that down to step two, which is the 1-year target. When you think about the 1-year target, you want to say what milestone moves you closer to that 5-year vision. Is there a skill that you need to learn? Is there a role that you need to grow in? Is there a project that you need to do? Make it really concrete. A good example of this might be like, hey, if you wanted to run marathon this year, right, you would have a milestone, like it's the marathon. But then you got to do a bunch of other different things for that marathon. Your milestones may be like, oh, I actually don't know how to run, right? So you got to learn how to run, right? Like you got to learn how to build up to that training regimen, which then leads to step number 3, which is the 90-day execution. When you take that 1 year and you have the clear goal, what you want to then do is move it into quarters. So a year has 4 quarters, 4 90-day quarters, and you want to break down every single quarter and say, what can I actually accomplish in the next 90 days? And this is where your calling becomes real. So if you have a 5-year plan, then a 1-year plan, then a 90-day plan, you're starting to get really focused. Let me just say, for example, you wanted to become a professor at a school. Right, well, let's say that's 5 years out. You need your PhD and you have your master's right now. Well, you might say, hey, a year from now, what I'd really love to make sure is that I have enrolled and I've started. Okay, well, then let's back that up into 4 quarters. You might say the first quarter is I'm going to do all the research for where I want to do my PhD. And the second quarter is you're like, I'm applying for it. And then the third quarter is I'm raising the funds for it. And then the fourth quarter is you're preparing to actually take the courses and get ready for your PhD. You're going to have to change schedule around or whatever. Now, that's a really basic way to think about it. But I'm giving you a pattern of what you should be doing to say, 5 years out, what do I really want? How do I really want to clarify my marketplace calling and what do I want to do? As you do this, you don't need to wait on God to reveal the full plan, because guess what? He's never going to do that. He directs people who are moving and are taking steps of faith. And as you take the step of faith, one step at a time, he's going to keep revealing little by little what you're doing. And sometimes he'll direct you. He might be like, hey, silly goose, I don't want you to get a PhD. I don't want you to do that. I want you to go overseas. Or, hey, I want you to go build a business. Or, hey, I want you to go start a family. Whatever that is, the best way to do it is by faith, taking the best next step and trust the Lord that he's got you right where you are. And each one of those steps will give you better clarity. And that clarity always, always, always comes after action. So if you're right now stuck and wondering, what should I do? The best next step is just start creating a 5-year plan, then break that down to a 1-year plan, then start breaking it down 90 days and just start executing and trusting the Lord that he's got your back. If this has been helpful, do me a favor, leave a 5-star review on our podcast and share this with a friend that you think will need it, who's like, man, I'm stuck right now and I'm not sure what to do with my calling. Hopefully this will be helpful. And we have a whole bunch of other videos on our YouTube channel or on the podcast that talk about getting clarity on your calling and also figuring out what to do. We also have a community that could help you. So if you just go to frontieroperators.com, you could check out all that information and start making steps to making a greater impact for God and for yourself. You guys have a great day and God bless.